history of Kenya in the 60s, 70s, and 80s will be incomplete without reference to John Keen. John Keen was supposedly a Maasai leader. He had no Maasai blood. You know, among the Maasais, if you look at the Maasai leaders, just as Cadet Oletipis and Stanley Shebashina Oloitiptip were the ones who were pure Maasai. Actually, Oloitiptip was from, if I'm not wrong, from the Matapato subtribe of the Maasai. John Keen was a mulatto. A mulatto in Kiswahili we call it chotara. His father was a mix of German and British. His mother was a Samburu. Samburu are a Ma tribe, together with the James or Ilchamus if you want to. The largest Ma tribe is the Maasai, followed by Samburu, and of course Ilchamus. So, John Keen's father was a Caucasian, mix of German and British, and his mother was a Samburu who resided in Kajiado North, the general region of Ngong. John Keen was born in 1930 within Kajiado. He attended Government African School in Narok. Those younger than me, or even my age mate, we used to have Government African Schools before when they brought in DEB. From Government African School in Narok, he went to Alliance High School, Kikuyu. From Alliance High School, he joined briefly the British Army. And when he joined the British Army, he left the British Army, and he was in the group that went to the Lancaster Conference in 1962. You remember, just as Cadet Oletipis also went to the 1962 Lancaster House. And their main complaint was the land that was grabbed from the Maasai. They wanted the land to be returned to the Maasai. National independence was of a lesser importance. Now, if you want to understand the area that was occupied by Maasais inside Kenya before the British came, look at a place called Narumoro. Let us say Laikipia generally. Go all the way to Uasin Gishu. Actually, Uasin Gishu, which today forms Eldoret, Uasin Gishu is a Maasai sub-tribe which is associated with the keeping of cattle, ngishu. Now you start from Nairobi, go all the way to Laikipia, go all the way to Uasin Gishu in Eldoret, then come all the way to Masai Mara. That was the Masai land. It was quite big. After Kenya attained independence, John Keen contested in 1963 in Kitale and lost. Then in 1969, he contested for, Kajiado had only 2 constituencies, Kajiado North and Kajiado South, whereas Stanley Shepashina Ole Oloitiptip contested Kajiado South. John Keen contested Kajiado North. And they started their wars. Who was the king of Kajiado? And you'll find that the script is the same. Just like Tom Mboya contested Luo kingship with the Jaramogi, and the Jaramogi would usually mock Tom Mboya by saying, "Are you really a Luo?" Tom Mboya was a Suba. Suba is a Luo sub-tribe which initially were Bantus. And Suba comes from a Luhya word, Siuba. Siuba. And if you look at among the Maragoli, there is a Suba clan. So, just as Jaramogi used to tell Tom Mboya that you are not a pure Luo, Oloitiptip used to tell John Keen that he was not a pure Maasai. Actually, he was not even a Maasai. He was the closest he was a Samburu through his mother. Just like the vice president of Kenya, who was half Goan, Joseph Murumbi, whose father was a Goan and the mother was a Maasai. So we can safely say that the pure Maasais were just as Cadet Ole Otipis and Stanley Shepashina Ole Oloitiptip. If you look at Ntimama was born in Maryland of a Maasai father and a Meru mother. So, there used to be this quarreling that you are not a pure Maasai. So, Oloitiptip went and sponsored Philip Odupoi to contest against John Keen, and Philip Odupoi dethroned John Keen. Philip Odupoi continued for a long time, and when John Keen saw that he could not dethrone Odupoi, that is when he sponsored Professor Saitoti. Professor Saitoti had no blood. He was a 100% Kikuyu. This is what happened, that when Moi was trying to undermine Emilio Mwai wa Kibaki, he went and looked for a mathematics professor who was Saitoti. Saitoti was a Kikuyu from Kiambu, and his father was Muthengi wa Kinuthia. But when he went and grew up in Ngong, he changed his name. You see, Kikuyus and Masais have a historical background whereby there is this suspicion that Jomo Kenyatta may not even have been a Kikuyu, he may have been a Masai. That is how the name Nyokavi comes in. There is a grabbing of young people, both men and women, but mostly women from the other tribe. So when the Kikuyu Saitoti grew up in Ngong area, he changed his name. You know, the Masais also have got a name, Musengi. And he changed the name to Musengi. And he used to play football. He was very good a footballer. And when he used to play football, people used to call him Saitoti. I don't know, Masai Saitoti may be Mjanja or something. So when he was joining, after doing his O-level, ordinary level Form 4, and he was joining Form 5, there was a need to balance tribal balances. So he posed as a Masai, and he was taken to Mangu. He was taken to Mangu for his advanced level, where he posed to be as a Masai, and the rest, as we say, is history, and he became a professor of history. When he became a professor of history, his thesis for PhD was that 0 is a number. Reminds me of the book Betrayal in the City, where we say that educated people study very little of something. They spend so much time studying very little that they come out with. Imagine somebody, his citation for PhD is 0 is a number. And yes, 0 is a number, because before you start with 1, you start with 0, isn't it? I've taken 2 seconds to say that, but it took 2 years for him to prove that. I need a PhD, eh? Okay. So, John Keen was dethroned by Oloitiptip in Kajiado North. And you know, when first of all he started campaigning for Kajiado North, Oloitiptip told him, I'm going to make sure that you fail so that the next election you campaign inside Tanzania, Arusha. Why is it that? You know, in Lowassa and Sokoine were Masais in northern Tanzania. So Oloitiptip was mocking John Keen by saying that he contested in Kitale, then Ngong, and he'll go down to Arusha, Tanzania. And if he stays longer, maybe he'll contest in South Africa. And when he was dethroned and they placed there Philip Odupoi, John Keen then came and brought in this Kikuyu who was posing as a Masai. Have you noticed that if you look at all the tapes that Saitoti had never uttered a word in Kimasai, and whenever he used to campaign, he used to speak in Kiswahili, and there used to be a translator who would translate it into Kimasai. Saitoti, I can speak better Masai than Saitoti if he was to be still alive. And asuba bogin lor Masaini, meara lomon, nanu angida, angido leng. I went to PBS primary school in Kajiado before completing my school in Bagadi Road Primary School. I was there for 4 years. Township Standard 2, PBS Standard 3, and then Standard 3 repeat PBS and Standard 4. So ayolo ki Masai pogin toningo. So Saitoti never spoke Kimasai. You have heard me speaking Kimasai, but he could if you talked to him in Kimasai, he would answer you in any other language, that is in English or Swahili. John Keen went on, invested a lot. I've been to his Masai. You alight at Ongata Rongai. I walked all the way to his Masai village down there, but nowadays I hear it is quite dangerous because you'll be mauled by hyenas. Somebody was mauled by hyenas recently, but I was there during the during the wedding of Maina Nyachai. I'm known to Eric Maina Nyachai. When he was wedding, a pre-wedding party was done at John Keen's place, at that place next to Masai village, next to Ongata Rongai. It's a very good place. If your pocket is deep, mine is not deep, but I'm known to Eric Nyachai, so I went there. His mother is from Karatina, and my mother is from Karatina. So we attended, but the main wedding I didn't attend. I wasn't feeling well, which was attended by even Mamangina. Viewers, that is all I had about this great Kenya. By the way, he was a very good person, and not only him. Generally, Ma people are very good, very kind-hearted. I am yet to get a Ma person or leader who is not good, and I like those people. I'll sing a last song for the Maasai. Ma viebogi shumara enga baba shumara ma viebogi shumara. But my grandfather Benson Kareithi used to like a Maasai song which said, Njogie naib matoningo nanu Yesu sidai. Matoningo nanu Yesu sidai. Njogie naibor njogie gole. Toningo angido leng dawo.